Okay, perfect. Well, we are at 7:30, so Lisa Grover and Lisa Morehart, if you don't mind, I'm just managing the chat after this. If anyone else needs IT
No
support,
problem.
feel free
Yep.
to throw them in the breakout rooms. But yeah, we'll get started with the rest of our orientation here, just kind of walking through some of the things that you'll be encountering in the next semester with your course, such as going through everything you can do on self-service and on your courses, as well as webmail, ordering textbooks, that type of stuff. So I'm going to be kind of popping in and out between a presentation and going through the actual websites with you so that we can go in real time. So you know exactly where I'm clicking and everything, and hopefully that will work well. So I'm just going to go through a bit of this and then I'll switch over to the website for you guys. But what the rest of the night is going to look like is we're going to do this orientation piece, and then we're going to pass it over to Rhea McFarland from Student Success, who's going to walk you through a bit of the supports that we give you as U of R students and what the Student Success Center does and provides. And then Brad Dirksen will be here to chat about the Archer Library and all of the library resources that you might be using in your course and beyond if you choose to attend U of R. So it'll be great sessions to kind of listen to. And then after that, we will put you in breakout rooms with your professors in your class. If you missed what I said earlier, we do have the professors for English 100 and Indigenous Studies 100 here tonight. So we can put you in breakout rooms with those profs to kind of go over the syllabus and any course expectations. For the other courses, we'll just keep you in this main room, and we can definitely let you into one of the other breakout rooms if you'd like to hear what the other classes are like, or you will be getting an intro from your professor once classes start. So you'll get all of the same information just at a later date. But those breakout rooms are amazing, so I do recommend staying for them because it's a chance to kind of meet the other people in your classes and also kind of meet your professor and get to know what their expectations are. So with that being said, we are going to first go over UR self-service. So I'm going to stop sharing here and we'll kind of walk through what it will look like. So I'm going to share the website actually here so that we can get rolling. Bear with me for 1 second. Awesome. So I'm sure all of you guys are logged in at this point. So you would have gone all the way to the bottom of this beautiful new U of R website and been able to see UR self-service under current students. So once you click on that and have gotten all logged in, again, if you have any sort of IT or login troubles, feel free to pop it in the chat and we can put you in a breakout room or help solve your issues. But you will log in with your user ID, which is your student number, and then your PIN number that you've set. You can adjust this later on, but it's one of the most important things that you're going to have in your class. So definitely either keep that login handy or make sure it saves in your browser like I have. So after you log in, this is what the self-service page is going to look like. So this is what you should be seeing on your screen here. Feel free to kind of split your Zoom screen or your computer screen so you can see your own browser as well as my screen share, or flip back and forth between the two just to make sure you're on the right track. But I will walk you through it all verbally as well. So one of the most important things on this first initial page here that you guys will all have to do is the Vaccination Declaration. So all students at the University of Regina, including you guys, will have to declare your vaccination status. So if you're going to be attending classes in person on campus, there's an option for that where you have to upload your vaccine proof and declaration. You can also choose whether you're learning online or remote or off campus. And then there's also, if you're not vaccinated but are willing to submit to testing, there's an option there. So you'll have to fill this out before your classes begin. So make sure that you do that. It's very, very important. Then the second part is this student tab here. So this is where you're going to go for a lot of important information. And then the last piece that'll be important to you guys on this page is the personal information page. So as you can see under here, I won't walk through it, but you can view or update your addresses, so your mailing addresses, your phone numbers, emails, emergency contacts, and things like that. So if you have any changes in any of that information, for example, if you move or if you're attending U of R and you move on campus or something like that, make sure to keep that updated. So that'll be the information that the university uses to contact you. So in this Student Services student tab, we're just going to click on that. This is kind of a main part where you're going to find all of this wonderful information. So the first tab here is student records. So as you can see, there's little descriptions under each of these links. So student records, you can view your record, holds, final grades and academic history, charges and payment, request your ID card, apply to graduate, etc. So if we click into student records here, you can see that all of this pops up great for you. So this is where once you're registered in your course and you get your grade, you can click on your current registration and list of courses. So this is what we call an unofficial transcript. So once you're done your high school accelerated course, if you wish to apply for dual credit, things like that, you can do document requests to get your official transcripts, which will be sent to your school and then sent to the ministry to get that dual credit processed for you. And then just to see your final grades, there's also a tab for that as well. So once you've done your course, you'll be able to see all of that grade information here. One of the other important pieces here is view account or make a payment. So when you go into this, it will take you to a page that looks a lot like this here. So once we get into viewing your tuition and fees, your student account will indicate your ID number and then the balance on your account. So all of your fees are due on the first day of class, and there won't be any interest on them if you pay them before February 22nd. So keep those dates in mind. So your course tuition and any other fees such as the students' union fees and things like that will be put on this student account balance. So one of the things that I kind of struggled learning is that if it is a positive number, then you have money extra in your account. If it is a negative number, then you have to pay it. I was not aware of that when I first came to U of R, and I thought I owed money the whole time when I actually had excess funds in there. So it should definitely stay a balance of zero, probably for you guys for high school accelerated, once you pay off your tuition and things like that. If you do end up attending U of R and you get any entrance scholarships, that's where these will be applied in the fall as well. So you'll be visiting this later on if you attend U of R as well. But as high school accelerated students, this is where you'll be paying those fees. It's quite simple and straightforward once you click make a payment here, because it'll walk you through kind of credit card transactions and things like that. So you can figure that out once it comes time to pay your tuition and fees. I'm just going to stop sharing here and get back to that website. So again, this is quite an important part to go, but one of the other important pieces in self-service, if we just go back to this student services tab, is you can see farther down there's registration. So this is where you can search for, register, and or drop classes, check your status, see your course schedule, etc. So if you end up attending U of R, this will be a pretty important tab for you. If you'd like to search any other classes that you could take, feel free to do so in this tab here. So if we click on registration, here's where you can search for classes. So if you'd like to take a class in the summer or look at some classes for fall, by all means, once they open. You can take classes as high school accelerated students that aren't specific high school accelerated. So if you'd like to take a class over the summer because you loved your high school accelerated course, by all means, register for one of our other classes that we offer. You can also view your visual schedule binder, which isn't as important for you guys yet, as you are only taking maybe 1 or 2 classes, but you can see your class schedule and things like that as well, which will be detailed on your syllabus once you get that from your professors as well. So once you get through all of this information, you can definitely explore it and take it in on your own. But one thing I will walk you guys through that'll be important in the next few weeks is accessing and purchasing your textbooks. So you can find that at the bottom of this registration page here. And if we click on access and purchase your textbooks, you need to select your term, which for me is 2022 winter, that is this term. So then you hit submit and it will take you to the bookstore website. So we have a new bookstore website. So if you've seen it in the past, it might not have looked like this, but this is where you're going to come to access all of your required courses. So once you come to the campus store, you can click on textbooks at the top. You can either shop by your course ID, which you can find on your self-service, or if it's more simple for you, which I definitely find it's more simple, you can shop by course. So once you're shopping by course, it's pretty straightforward. You just select your department. So example, English. You can select your course. So let's say English 100, and then you can select your section. So let's take the first section here right off the top, and then make sure that you have your section number correct into what course you're taking. So if you're taking the High School Accelerated English 100 course, won't necessarily be section 001, but this will be information that you can find on self-service, on your acceptance letter, on your course syllabus. You'll find it everywhere. So just make sure when it says English 100 or Anthropology 100, etc., that you get that little section tag number at the end. So then you're just going to find materials for one course, and it will load all of the books that you need. So for example, for this English 100 class, which is being taught by Diane Zowell, these are the books that this class will be purchasing. So from here, it's very straightforward. I'm sure you guys have extensive online shopping experience like I do. So you can just basically click which one you'd like. Lots of students prefer to have digital copies, or you can buy new or used. So just make sure to pick the one that is best for both your budget and what you prefer. So for example, if you don't mind reading kind of ebooks or digital copies, then by all means. Or if you'd like the physical copy, then you can select rent or used or new. We also have the opportunity to rent or buy textbooks with this bookstore. So if you rent a textbook, it means that it's due at the end of the semester. So it's kind of like paying to take it out of the library. It's a lot cheaper, but you have to give it back at the end of the semester. If you choose to buy it, you can buy it used for a reduced price, or you can buy it new. So just make sure you're picking and choosing what you'd like for both your preferences and your budget. If a book happens to say backward, I know this has happened for some of my classes. I don't think it'll happen for yours, but if it happens to, then just wait and chat with your professor about it, because usually they are working with the bookstore to make sure that you can get all of the textbooks that you need. And it just means that the library doesn't necessarily have any in stock yet, or they haven't received their shipment. So don't panic if you happen to see that on your textbook website. But this is how you can order all of your textbooks. Once you add them to your cart and everything, you just check out at the top when it says My Bag. So it's very similar to online shopping, like I mentioned. So I'm just going to go back to self-service here, and then we can pause for any questions. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute yourself, put them in the chat. No, it's a lot of information I just threw at you, but that's basically the overview of your self-service. And like I said before, by all means, go through it in your own time. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to click back to our presentation here. So this is what we've run through so far, accessing textbooks. Just a note here about textbooks as well. Anthropology 100 does not have any textbooks this semester, so all of the readings are available on your courses in PDF formats, which I will show you all how to access and download in a second. It's very easy. And then ARC 220 doesn't have any textbooks as well. All the readings are on your courses, but there is a materials list for ARC 220, so there'll be certain things that you'll have to buy to complete the assignments in that course. And then for English 100, just as a sample, these are the books that you'll be using. I believe it's the same books that you'll be purchasing this semester, but just as an example of what it might look like on your syllabus, if you're in one of the other courses as well, this is what it'll look like, and then you'll be able to pick out the title and the author of what book you need to purchase. So if you would like to purchase it from a source that isn't the bookstore, then you can search it using the information that'll look like this on your syllabus. And as always, if you have any questions about any of your textbooks or concerns, feel free to address them with your professor. They're usually very, very easy to ask questions and get along with, so they're happy to help. Awesome. So I just want to go over the difference between using your user ID and your username and password. So as we kind of chatted about before, and as you've probably seen when you've been logging into self-service and UR courses, there's two different logins. So your user ID, which is your student number, and that PIN number that you've created will help you log into the U of R app, UR self-service, and the bookstore. And I believe the bookstore allows you to create a username and password account on there as well for payments. We just mean this in that you have to go through UR self-service to get there. Your username and password you'll be using for webmail and UR courses. And then if you happen to be on campus and would like to use any of the computers, you can access them with your username and password as well. So I'm just going to quickly go through the student email, the webmail as well. I'm going to do this one just on the PowerPoint here because I actually have a staff email as well as a student email. So I don't want to confuse you guys. Mine looks a little bit different. So just to access your webmail, it'll be the same on the website. I can show you how to get there. So on the U of R website, if we go back, just 1 second. I always have issues when this screen sharing thing pops up at the top. So I'm just going to do this. So on the home page of the website, it does look a little bit different now that we have updated it. So if you've tried to get on it before, prior to the website update, it might be a little different. But again, you can either click current students up here or scroll all the way to the bottom here, and it'll have all of your logins. So you can find webmail in this list of current students. And once you click on that, it'll take you to your login. So this is what it will look like. And you'll have to find your username and password down here at the bottom. So yours looks slightly different than mine. You might be able to find it on the side. I'll just go back to our presentation here as well for some more details. But you'll log in with your username and password for webmail. So see on the side here, once I share it, it says find your username and password, new students only. So this is what you'll have to click to access your webmail, and you'll be able to use that username and password, or if you've already been able to use that username and password to log into self-service, then it should be the same. So it'll be the prefix of your email. So for example, my student email is ell788@uregina.ca. I know it seems very hard to remember when you first get it, but believe me, you will use it enough that you will remember it. So you can log into your webmail using that same username and password as UR courses. And if you haven't set that up yet, or you'd like to later, and you're watching this recording and haven't done that, you can find your username and password on the side. But once you get into your webmail, it will look something like this. So it's fairly standard email. You'll be able to have an inbox and draft emails and things like that, as well as your sent and trash folders. So it's fairly simple to get used to. And then once you are all set up with it, you can actually forward your webmail to your personal email. So I recommend doing this as one of the first steps when you first get into your webmail. You can forward it to your personal email. So I forwarded mine to my Gmail account. Now that I work for the university, I check it quite frequently. But when I was a student, I didn't really want to log into a separate email that's in a different browser tab. So you can forward it straight to your Gmail so that you can see it as soon as emails come, because all of the emails that are sent from the university will go to this account. So you want to make sure that you're either checking it very frequently or that you forward it to your personal email. So if you just go on uregina.ca and go into information services or just search an email in the search bar, you should be able to find a note that tells you how to add and remove email forwarding. So once you log into webmail, there should be a drop down that you can create a forward or delete forwarding, and then you can just forward it to the email address that you like. So that is definitely something that I recommend you do. And if you have any questions about that, by all means visit IT for any sort of support with your webmail. They're very good at answering all of those questions as well. So now the final piece to walk you guys through is your courses. So this is also one of the most important things that you all will be accessing because it's the main part of where your courses are going to be located. So if we go through this here, it's going to look a little bit different. So I'm going to log you in through mine. And then we can kind of see exactly what the student perspective is going to look like because I also am currently a student. So we're going to be able to walk through it in a similar perspective to what you guys will have. So once I click log in, obviously, hopefully you guys have all figured out how to log in as well. So it'll bring you to this main dashboard page. So on this main dashboard page, you'll be able to scroll down and see all of your courses in this course overview. So as you can see, I have quite a few on here, but you should see this high school accelerated online orientation page. If you don't, it's because you registered quite recently and we haven't had a chance to add you yet, but you will be added within the next day or so for sure. So once you are able to see this, it'll be able to walk you through some things about your courses, and we'll get to that in a second. You can see that mine are not all of the courses I have, so you can filter the courses. You guys probably won't need to since you won't have very many of them on here yet. You're just high school accelerated students. But if you're wondering what this tab is here, or if you aren't able to see your courses, make sure you have it selected to all courses. Or else if you have it in past or future, you might not be able to see the courses that you're currently in. So if we go to the High School Accelerated Online Orientation page, this is what it should initially look like. So this is a page that is all for you guys, and it has a lot of important information on here that you'll want to pay attention to. So if you go to the Start Here module, it'll walk you through some information that you can test out and some steps to get yourself familiar with your courses and your classes. So, for example, you can go to the Introduce Yourself forum and introduce yourself and meet some of the other students that are going to be in High School Accelerated. So you can see this forum option down here. Everything is pretty self-explanatory in your courses once you get into it. So, for example, in discussion forums, you can add a new discussion topic and introduce yourself. I see some of you guys have already, which is amazing. So take the time to introduce yourself and get to know some of your peers in your high school accelerated classes. If you go back in this little breadcrumb tab here, this will just show you the things that you have open. So for example, if we wanted to go back to the main page, then we click High School Accelerated. Once we click in Start Here, it'll add that to our little breadcrumb trail at the top once we click into something. So if there's anything else that you'd like to explore in this page, by all means. We also have a little check-in just to see if you guys have logged into things, just making sure you're on the right track. We also have Zoom tips for students, and I will be putting the orientation slides from this presentation in this folder once they're ready. So you can definitely access that whenever you want during the semester. And then we also have a getting started document that you can all reference for anything you might need throughout the semester. And most of this information will be on there. So that is the Start Here tab. And then again, there's important dates that you can visit and you'll want to write them down. And it has a lot of the information that you'll need throughout the semester, such as when breaks are. And then you can visit your class as well. So for example, if you're in English 100, you can click on that tab. Currently, we do have the syllabus available, so you can view the syllabus by clicking here. And then if you're in any of the other courses, you can click on them. Some of them don't have a syllabus uploaded yet, but they will closer to the time that your classes start. But for Art 220, you can view your materials list and see what you'll have to purchase in the upcoming weeks before your class. You can also click this tab as an access to the bookstore as well if you'd rather go through here and not through self-service. And just a note on textbooks, you can order them online and they do take about 3 to 5 business days. So they do ship pretty quickly, which is nice. But you can access that through there as well. You can access library resources in here as well, which we will go over in a little while with Brad from the library. You can do a little practice exam if you'd like. So for example, if your instructor wants you to do a take-home or online final exam, you can try doing an online practice exam, at this link here, which kind of walks you through the process of doing an online quiz. There's important contact information here if you have any sort of problems. And you can also apply for dual credit, which we have this information here as well. If you have any questions about any of this, feel free to use the contact information. So that is what the high school accelerated online orientation will look like. It'll be very similar to what your courses look like as you get into them. So there'll be an announcements news forum where your professor can put important information. There'll be a course email that you can click and get into. So you can click new message if you'd like to email someone in your class or email a professor. So for example, you can go through this list here, email any of your other students. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just another email function. Some professors do prefer that you email them through the course email and not through like your regular email. And so it's just easier for them to sort through. But yeah, feel free to play around with your courses. You can see some other functions at the top here, like going directly to your course email, any sort of notifications or messages. You can also complete your profile in the top corner here and add a profile photo or anything else that you'd like to add and just personalize it. I'm just going to show you quickly as well what an online course looks like and what your high school accelerated course might look like. So just as an example, I'm currently in a PR online course this semester. So just to show you how the weeks are broken down, this is what you might encounter when you get to your course with your professor, which they'll probably walk you through a lot of it or give you some instructions. But generally, it'll be formatted in a module layout, which will have kind of week by week instructions on what you should be doing and any assignments that need to be handed in. And it'll also post your syllabus and any other information that you can complete in the first few days of classes. So for submitting an assignment, I'm just going to show you what that'll look like as well before we end off here. So on your courses, you can submit things directly to the page and not have to email it to your professors. Some professors do prefer you email it, but most prefer that you upload it through either Turnitin software or this UR courses page. Both look pretty similar. So it'll have all of this information here, like your submission status and comments, and you can add a submission at the bottom here. Once you click add a submission, it's pretty straightforward in that you can add any sort of files, upload a file from your computer, etc. And then you'll just hit save changes at the bottom, and it will submit it to this UR courses page and to your professor, and then you'll see the submission status as submitted. And it has the due dates and things like that here as well. So that is the one thing I do want to point out as submitting assignments, because it is quite new and not as self-explanatory as some other components on your courses here. But yes, this is what an online course will look like. And if you have any additional questions, I'm sure your professors will be more than happy to walk through them with you. But with that, I'm just going to stop sharing and see if anyone has any questions related to all of the information I just threw at you in relation to all of these different platforms that you'll be using in the semester. Feel free to throw them in the chat or unmute. And again, we will have a recording of this presentation available after if you'd like to kind of go through this in a slower format or go back and check any of the steps that we went through. Okay, perfect. Well, if there is no other questions, then I'm going to, oh, there's a question. Shaylee says, I don't have the high school accelerated course in my UR courses, nor does my student services say I'm in anything. So with the UR courses page, if you were just recently registered, you probably won't have been added to the UR courses page yet. So I will get everyone who has just recently registered in the last couple of days uploaded to that page, likely tomorrow. So don't worry if you don't see it quite yet. You will be able to see all of your courses on the first day of class. So that's when you'll be able to see your, for example, English 100 or your anthropology class. If you don't see them on the first day of classes, then you can let us know and we can help you get access to it or see what's going on. But yeah, that might be the issue there, is if you were just recently registered. Is there any other questions? Perfect. Okay. Well, with that, I will pass it over to the lovely Ria to do a presentation on the Student Success Center. So this is everything that you'll need to know about any kind of campus supports. So Ria, I will make you a co-host because I know you might want to share a screen.
Yes, I will.
Perfect. Feel free to take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Emily. So first thing I want to do before we get started is I want us to get used to this Zoom life. I'm sure you've already been part of it for a while. Let's go to that bar and we're going to put up a reaction for Emily and thank her for doing an amazing job, and to the Lisas doing an amazing job. So let's give them some hearts. Let's give them some cheers, some claps, some something. Let's use those. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Woohoo! I like it. All right, so as we have those going up in the chat, I'm going to share some stuff as well. So I've got 3 different websites that we're going to go through today, and then a quick email address in the chat as well. So we're going to go through the Student Success Center website. We're going to chat a bit about counseling and then accessibilities. So I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to go on an adventure today to the Student Success Center. So welcome to our home landing page. This is kind of the main spot that you're going to come for a lot of those free supports that you're going to get on campus. This is all paid with your tuition. So these are all great supports that you can access at any time. So the things that we're going to chat about today will be, we'll chat about some advising, we'll chat about learning skills appointments, we'll talk a bit about tutoring, and then we will continue along. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to chat about workshops. Now, when we are, we're going through our semesters, things can be kind of difficult. We want some additional supports. We want to learn some new skills. So the first thing that is going to be quite helpful is going to some workshops. So we have a calendar of events that are available. All of these workshops are online. They're about half hour, 40 minutes. You can join without having to register. You just click on one you're interested in and you go through that. And one of the advisors in our center will be presenting. So for example, if you decide conquering your first semester sounds like something I really need, you're going to click on there. It'll tell you the time that it's going to be happening from, and it'll give you the Zoom information. So again, you don't have to register. You can just pop into those meetings. The last few I've had have been super fun. I had some grad students that just popped in one day, so they were sharing their experiences too. So you never know who you're going to meet. So I would suggest these as great opportunities to learn some new skills as you are just starting up in the university, especially if we're starting February. You can see we have lots of stuff available towards the end of January to get you all supported. So that would be the first thing I would suggest. Now, the second thing are these learning skills consultations. So when you're starting any sort of classes at the university, we know for a fact that the learning style between high school and university is so different. So if you find that you're starting off your classes and you're going, I need help learning some new skills for reading my textbooks, what's a peer-reviewed article? What am I supposed to do with this thing? You can just set up a quick learning skills consultation with us. They're 20 minutes. And all you're going to do is you're going to come and say, hey, here's the thing I'm struggling with, and we're going to help you find some strategies and ways to make it work for you. So right now we're running these on Zoom. We're also running them on phone. So whatever's going to work best for you. And the appointment information is just a click here situation, and you will sign in, and then you'll be able to see the full list of all of our advisors and all the times that they have available. Those ones I love. Those are my favorite ones. They're so fun. One-on-ones are the best. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at tutoring, which is also going to be super helpful. Again, like I said, it's a complete change, right? Moving from high school into university writing, university math and stats can be quite stressful. And there's no reason that you need to be doing that on your own. So even if you're getting some supports in the high school with your teachers, or maybe you have tutors and things like that set up for this already, there are additional tutoring spaces as well. So there is an online writing tutorial space for undergrad, which would be you lovely people. And then we also have math and stats as well. And you go, oh, but what if it's not math and stats? What if it's not English? What if it's business? And what if it's anthropology? What if it's art? Then you can check out our tutor registry. So in here, you can check and see, you can find a tutor, and then you're going to look it up by your subject. So let's say, I'm not sure if we have any Anthropology 100 tutors, but we can find it. So I just typed it in, perfect. So there are some tutoring rates for these tutors. So they are being paid to do this work. So you can see that we've got someone who's good for in-person and Zoom and someone who's good for in-person. So if you're finding that you're really struggling in anthropology and you're like, you know what, it is worth paying the 15 bucks to go and see somebody, then that's an option as well. So these are students who have been taking these classes and have to be brought into this space and have to actually have that class on their own transcript before they're allowed to help you as well. So I would suggest that. The great thing about the writing tutoring that I love, that link is broken. I will send you a better link later. The writing tutoring is awesome because if you are not the kind of person that wants to do the one-on-one on Zoom, you're like, I can't handle it, not for me, then what we're going to do is we're going to have you send an email. So that information is within our writing tutoring on the main page. You're going to send your paper to writing@uregina.ca. And then as it's noted here, it's usually about 2 to 3 business days for that turnaround. The next thing, I will mention this super quickly. Your Guarantee program, that's the program that I advise for. It's the program that Emily is in, and it is fantastic. So this is the program we do a lot of additional supports for students, helping you to get involved on campus and helping you to get some volunteering, community experience, additional experience for work. And what we're trying to do is to help you feel supported as you start working towards your career. So this is a great thing to check out once you start moving towards coming here in the fall, which we're hoping you'll all do, and then we'll work there. Academic advising is always great. Again, you have your advising and you have people that you can talk to here in CCE, but if you did decide that you wanted to continue courses with U of R, or you're looking at some additional certifications, you can chat with academic advising. So they have an email here, and then they also have some drop-in times for Zoom as well. All of the links are here, so if you wanted to drop in and chat with them about some future courses, that's an option as well. Now the last and not the least, this is the best thing I've ever seen, and I don't know why it's at the last part of this page, but if you're looking for help with anything for writing, this is the spot. So you don't know how to do citations for a paper, citation help is the place to go. Here's the formatting sheets. We need to update to the MLA 9th edition, but we're there. Again, assignment help, essay writing help. There are some pre-recorded workshops. So if you're looking for stuff on formatting papers or help with plagiarism, and then there's also some Zoom workshops as well that you can check out. So if you're looking and need some assistance for that, those are available. So the next thing I'm going to show you here, counseling services. So what we have right now for counseling services, if you're someone who feels like you might need to, access some services and chat with somebody, maybe need a little additional support while you're going through your classes, counseling services is a great place to go. So one of the things we have is called a TLC, or a time limited consults. So this means that you get to check in with one of our counselors. You have a chat about what's going on, and they're going to be available to say, hey, you know what? I think these might be some great options for you. So they might not be counseling you necessarily, but they're actually going to let you know, hey, this might be a good thing to chat about your family doctor, to chat with them about. Here's some resources. Hey, sounds like you already have a diagnosis. Here might be some things that we can do. Let's set you up with counseling services. Maybe we set you up with accessibilities and get you some supports for when you're in class. So going to one of those consults is going to give you that opportunity to connect with a mental health professional and for them to be able to spend some time with you and find what are going to be the best supports as you work through your semester. So to do that, there is an online contact form here. So it's just first and last name, student ID, email address. So we only use Regina emails, so just note that. The subjects, you can just say TLC or need to see someone, whatever you like. And then in the message space, just give them some information about what you'd like. There is also urgent support. We always have this information available as well. So if you have any sort of urgent support or urgent needs, please make sure that you are calling. We always put mobile crisis first. They're fantastic, specifically in Regina. So make sure that we are accessing those resources. And the last one is you are accommodated. Center for Student Accessibility. It's the evening. So we are looking at Center for Student Accessibility. So if you're someone who already has a diagnosis for any sort of mental disorders or things like that, ADHD and ADD are also included in that. To let you know, you can look into getting some additional supports in your courses, whether that's through assistance and supports for tests and exams. You might even be able to get some note-taking help and things like that. So if you look on For Students, it'll give you all the information about how to register, the forms that you need to fill out, how to book an appointment, the process, responsibilities, etc. So there's tons of opportunities for support. And the one thing that we hear the most from students is they haven't heard of it before, they use the service, and then they go, why have I not used this earlier in my degree? For myself, I am in a master's program and I'm going, why didn't I do this like 10 years ago? This would have been great to have at that point. So this is definitely something to check out. And again, even if you're someone who doesn't have a diagnosis for something, but you have some wonderings, you're not quite sure how to go about things, accessibility is also great people to talk to because they can help you figure out what your kind of first steps are going to be towards getting some additional assistance in your studies. So that's what I have. We've got about 2 minutes. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer those. And if not, it's fantastic seeing you. I'm very excited for you. I've been a high school teacher for 6 years prior to this, so it fills my heart with so much joy. This is fantastic.
Thanks so much, Ria. Is there any questions? Yes, Lisa.
Oh, you're muted.
I just put a note saying that was great information. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
I really enjoyed that.
You were muted there, Lisa.
Sorry,
Lisa.
I just put it in the in the chat.
Sorry, no, other Lisa. Lisa M.
Wrong Lisa.
Yeah, sorry. Oh no. If you're signing at me, I'm really sorry. I only sign a little. Yeah, exactly. Beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Emily. It's so great to be here with you. Again, if you have any questions, please send us an email and let us know.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ria. That was a wonderful presentation. Let's give some more reactions for Ria since she got us all started on them. Let's give some cheers and some claps. Just making sure you guys are all awake as well, because I know it's so hard to get through some of these longer sessions on Zoom. I just had a 3-hour night class before I came on this call, so I understand.
And finally, my system is fixed now. Sorry, I was frozen. I couldn't chat. I couldn't unmute. I couldn't do anything. I was just going to say thank you, Rhea. I definitely learned something. I am a lifelong learner. I'm a student too in the master's program. I've taken courses all along with you students, and I definitely found out new information today that I should be using. So that was very helpful. Thank you.
Access them. Send me an email.
I will. I was definitely. You're gonna be sorry you said that, my friend.
Never sorry.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Now we have Brad here to give a bit of an overview about the library and all kinds of resources that you guys can access. So Brad, feel free to take it away.
All right. Thanks, Emily. Hi, everybody. My name is Brad Dirksen. I work at the Archer Library, which is the sort of the main library at the University of Regina, although we have a number of federated colleges. They each have libraries as well. And all together as a team, we try and support students like yourselves with all your various information finding needs, among many other services that we offer. So, you know, many of you likely have sort of an idea in your mind of what a library is. And of course, you probably already know that it's not just a room full of books where you have to be really, really quiet. Libraries are much more diverse than they used to be. And a university library is a sort of a unique kind of thing that it's a little bit different than maybe a public library or a high school library. There's certain things we have in common, but there's also some things that are unique, especially as you get into university study. You know, the bar gets raised again just a little bit more in terms of the kind of information sources that professors expect you to be using for your assignments. And that's one way that the library comes in. We provide both access to those resources. So we have a very large collection, millions and millions of items that are all in a collection designed to specifically support people working at or studying at a university. So that's one side, but we also have people like myself and a whole team, dozens of others who are here to help sort of navigate that huge pool of information, because you know, there's a few challenges in the world today. One is misinformation or just the wrong kind of information, and the other one is information overload. And that's where the people in the library come in. Is our job is to help you both sort of sort through the different kinds of information. You know, you're working on a given assignment, you need a certain type of information. How do I identify both what exactly do I need, where am I most likely to find it, and how do I search for it? And then just sort of sorting through the whole process of how do I best make use of search engines. We all use Google or something similar to Google, and actually Google trains us in some very bad habits. I use Google every day, and it has taught me some bad habits that I'm still unlearning, even though I'm a professional information finder and organizer. And so, you know, don't just assume that because you can Google skip the dishes to order takeout, or to find what the opening and closing hours are at your favorite store or the shopping mall, that means you can use an academic search engine to find academic sources of information. It's a different skill set, and you're using different kinds of tools. So that's sort of my intro is just you know, we all sort of assume that because we're good at finding one kind of thing that we're also good at finding other kinds of things. And I don't want to say that isn't completely true, but it's not always true. And there's always more to learn. And you're students and you want to get better at what you do as well. So I just encourage you to make use of the library. I'm going to share my screen briefly so that you don't just have to look at my talking head. We do have a website. The website is the primary way, you know, pandemic or not, the website is the primary conduit to library services and resources. Of course, hopefully in a few weeks, our building will be open again and anyone can walk in the front door and take advantage of face-to-face services. But most of our resources are actually, you know, electronic journals, electronic books, streaming media. You know, we even have movies. So if you are too cheap to pay for Netflix or Crave or something like that, you can access the Criterion collection as a student at the U of R, and you get access to TV shows and movies, in addition to all the wonderful educational documentaries as well. And, you know, artwork and music scores and all sorts of other things. So what you need, of course, depends on what course you're in, what assignments your professors have given you, and all of those kinds of things. But this library website really is the sort of the primary portal through which you access all of those kinds of services. I'm going to click this tab here. Quick Find is our main search engine. I'm not going to give you the whole how do I do this. I'm just going to show you this is where you would go to do a search of what's everything the library has. And then I'm going to point you here to research guides. I've been here, use the library for your research, and that takes you to this. It's also linked from the Moodle site that is the High School Accelerated Orientation has a link to this resource. So this is just some information we've put together in the library specifically for you. We have just our general library welcome video, and then we have some specific information for the subject areas that are, relate to the courses that are in the high school accelerated, and then some research tips. And so we've got everything from explainer videos to other kinds of information we can help you with, things like citing sources, how do I know I'm finding the right information, all of that kind of stuff. And last but not least, because you're gonna forget half of what we all told you in this orientation, and then like a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, you're going to be like, I need this information, and maybe someone told me and I've completely forgotten, and I didn't think of taking notes, or whatever the case may be. And so you have questions, ask questions. If you ever find yourself like, I think I'm doing this right, I'm not sure I'm doing this right, is there a better way to do this? I'm not sure I completely understand, but I'm too embarrassed to ask. I'm struggling. Is there possibly someone that can help me? Just ask somebody at the university, whether that's the Student Success Center, whether that's the folks at Flexible Ed, or at the library. We have a chat service. And so if you look in the bottom right-hand corner of the library's homepage, there is the universal little chat icon there. And you can, this is staffed whenever during normal library hours. So that's like Monday to Friday, 7:30 in the morning till 10:30 in the evening, as well as during the day on the weekends. And you can get an immediate answer. And even if you're like, I'm not sure this is a library question or not, ask. And if it's not a library question, we'll find the person or the service or the department at the university that can answer your question or help you. So, and it's completely anonymous. So if it's like one of those, I'm so embarrassed to ask this because it feels like a dumb question, and we've all been told a million times in our lives, there are no dumb questions, but we still sometimes feel that way. This is anonymous. We don't know who you are. So if you just want to ask somewhere anonymously, this might be the best starting point. So you're not sending an email that like comes from your personal account, and you don't want someone to know you're asking this question. So there you go. That's my super quick sales pitch for the library. We are really happy to have you on board this semester at the University of Regina, and are really hoping that you can take advantage of all the wonderful supports and services that are available to you. You're not alone. Don't expect to do this on your own. Learning is not an individual journey. That's a very old-fashioned way of thinking about education. It's a journey we're all on together. So don't feel like, especially because it's online, it can feel really isolating and lonely because it's you and your computer. So use the chat, say, hey, I want to meet by Zoom, which we also do in the library. You can get a one-on-one consultation with someone, and we'll meet on Zoom. We'll look at your syllabus. We'll look at your assignment. You get customized, personalized help. Where do you get that these days? And so ask anyone, ask someone, get help. Don't do this alone. We want to help you succeed. So there you go. That's my sales pitch for tonight. Thanks for signing up, and all the best this semester. And if you have any questions right now, I'm happy to answer or help or try.
Brad, you can expect 5 anonymous emails from me tomorrow with questions.
Excellent. I'm only one of we've got like 24 people that take turns covering the chat. So who knows who you might get, but we're all happy to help.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Brad. Does anyone have any questions related to the library or any of the services that Brad just went over? Feel free to unmute or put it in the chat. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for that presentation. We have a couple more minutes before we are going to open the breakout rooms for you to kind of meet your other classmates and your professors. So I figured, since we have a couple of minutes just to chat, there's some of us here who have been, like Lisa said, lifelong learners, or people who are currently taking classes. As a master's student, I'm just finishing up my undergrad. So if anyone has any questions about like student tips or anything like that, we're more than happy to answer them. Or again, if you have any sort of registration questions or anything related to your program, feel free to ask us while we're here. But I figured I'd start off just with some tips and tricks. And Ria or Lisa, if you guys have anything to add as well about what you've come across in your studies, that'd be great. But one of the first things that I do when I start a course is read my syllabus 10 times over. I know every professor will tell you that, but it's one of the most important things. It is your course gospel for the semester. And I am so much of a list and calendar person. So if you are too, and you have a planner that you keep beside you, I have a planner, I have a cute little desk calendar from chapters. I'm all over the place with my planning. So go through, mark down all of the dates when you have assignments due, put them in your Google calendars, set reminders. I've also in the past put when I should start working on assignments, because it's one thing to say that something's due on February 1st and another thing to actually remember before February 1st that it's due. So if you said something the week before saying, start my English 100 essay, hopefully you'll actually start it at that time, because I've definitely been there and it looks like Ria has too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely great to mark down all of those things, and make sure you know what your expectations are. I know all of the professors are great at answering any sort of questions throughout the semester, but just knowing what you're getting yourself into and the kind of resources that you can use and access throughout the semester will definitely help you, so you're not panicking down the line.
Agreed. I'll jump in on that too. It's also important to, when you're setting up your schedules or your day planner or whatever you're going to use, make sure it's something that integrates well into your life. If you're not someone that writes things down ever, then buying a paper planner might not be the thing for you. If you're someone who uses your phone all the time, I know something that I did after work today was actually go into my Google Calendar, and every section of time I had class, I added it into my calendar, have my syllabus actually printed out, and went through and added in, what am I doing on each of those days? What are we doing for those classes? Here's the Zoom link for each week. Just made sure that it's all organized. I even have the syllabus linked in for the first 3 weeks, so that when we're going through it, I can just open that thing on my Google Calendar and all the stuff is right there. But I think the other great thing too is that make sure that you're talking to your professors. They are your greatest resource. Profs are awesome. And also, if there's office hours, go to the office hours. I've had lots of times where I've gone not with any sort of particular question in mind, but even just going to meet your professors and starting to build relationship is really important too, because you may find in your discussion that something comes up that goes, oh, that might be kind of cool for a paper or an assignment or something. So building those relationships is really important, I found.
Yeah, and I would just agree with all of that. Of course, the scheduling, for me, the biggest success is when I have that relationship with teachers. I've always made a point to do that. I've always reached out, asked questions, never fear asking questions or assistance from your instructor. And I think that is very critical, and was the biggest part of my success through my studies. I'm still in a master's program, so that it doesn't stop ever, I don't think. No matter how old you get, we're still all learning. And really just the syllabus is key, making sure you understand the expectations of what is available and what you need to get done. So yeah, I just echo, obviously we're very similar in all of our styles with planning and stuff. And that's a testament to just keeping those points organized and on top of things. So yeah, I agree with all of it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ria and Lisa. I also would just echo the office hours point. It's very ironic because the first office hours I ever went to was with Professor Hiraki here teaching English 100. He was my English 110 professor way back when. First office hours I ever went to, I will admit I was terrified as a first year student, even though Professor Hiraki is such a great dude, very fun to take a class with, but it is scary your first time, but they're just amazing people to get to know and to answer all of your questions. And one thing I wish I knew, especially in English, is that you can just go chat about your ideas for a paper. If you're not really sure about it, go chat about it. You don't have to submit a draft or anything to them. Just say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about writing about. They'd be more than happy to kind of walk through your idea and help you flesh it out. Or take advantage of the writing tutors that Ria mentioned, or the English department has a writing center as well that I work at as a teaching assistant. So there's so many different people you can bounce ideas off of. You're not just by yourself. So it's great to take advantage. But with that, we will split you guys off into your breakout rooms with your professors now. So as I mentioned, we do have 2 of our professors here for English 100 and Indigenous Studies 100. So if you're in those classes, you'll be split off with them. If you're in art or anthropology or business, you'll come with both Lisa Morehart and Lisa Grover. As well, if you haven't if you just recently registered and you happen to not be on my list, you'll be put in that room as well, and we'll just kind of check out where you're supposed to be and get you in the right room. But thank you everyone so much for coming. We won't meet like this as a big group afterwards, so I just want to give a big thank you to all of our presenters and to all of the support staff here today from IT and from CCE and Flexible Learning. So thank you all so much, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your semester. So I will open the breakout rooms now, and we will get you where you're supposed to be.
Oh,
There
she is.
Hello.
There she is. Well, hello. Yeah, so this is the section because of the teachers not being